What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Rum Pure Sports NASCAR show for the Pennzoil 400 in Vegas this week. As always, I'm joined by my boys Coop and Mikey. We're here to break down the entire field and kind of talk about the track here and everything, and some edges and advantages that we can kind of find in this field. I'm going to throw it to you first, Coop. Give us your overall thoughts here on this event, and a little track preview for us. See what we can expect here today.
This is a tough one. It's different than the previous three races. I mean, Daytona is just a random wild crapshoot, but we know how to play that from a DFS perspective, starting the drivers in the back. Then you went to the road course at Daytona, which was another one where you wanted to play for place differential. And it also eliminates probably half the field since it's a road course. Not everybody is equipped to handle those. Then last week, we had the high tire wear track, which, also directs you towards certain drivers. But how this week in Vegas, it's all about pure speed. Tire wear is not an issue. So it's much, much tougher to predict. And this race is tough to predict looking at the last 6 or 7 that we've seen out west. So you're going to have to plant some flags and go with the drivers that you feel most comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's always important in any sport, DFS sport, to kind of, plant your flag, like you said, make some moves, make some key fades, and make some, pretty big overweight stances on guys. And it's just very important for any DFS sport that you're playing. Mikey, welcome to the show. Give us your kind of thoughts here on this event here today.
What's up, guys? I like this event today. I think there's some interesting spots. I think the starting positions are going to be really interesting today. I think the big thing we're going to talk about is when we get to the drivers is Harvick, whether we're playing him or not. Very similar tracks, like Coop said, that we've seen. Tire wear is a lot better here, though, so it should be an interesting race and a good one or fun one to enjoy.
It should be a fun sweat here this afternoon. So we'll just go ahead and actually, before we go ahead, if you're not a member over at Rum Pure Sports, right now is a good opportunity to get in. Not only do you get our NASCAR content with our main package, monthly or weekly package, but you get every other sport on the site: MMA, NBA, PGA. When MLB starts, you get that. We don't mark up, when new sports start. A lot of these other sites, when the new sports start, they go ahead and charge you a little bit more. At Rum Pure Sports, it's one flat rate for everything on the site. Every sport is included. We have a promo going right now where if you sign up using the promo code free ticket, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a $600 ticket to the DraftKings contest for the NBA on March 11th. The drawing will take place on the Hardwood Show with me and Big T and Titletown before lock at 4:45 Eastern on that March 11th date. So you head on over to Rum Pure Sports, use that promo code free ticket, gets you in the drawing for that free DraftKings NBA ticket. All right, let's hop into this field. We're going to go by starting position. So at the top, we have Harvick, go down Byron, Larson, Truex, McDowell, Hamlin, Busch, Elliott, Bowman, Keselowski. So we're going to cover the first 10 guys here in terms of starting position. Obviously, a lot of win upside here. These guys have some of the best odds when you look at Vegas odds to go ahead and win this race here. So I'm going to go to you first, Mikey. Kind of break down these first 10 drivers. Anyone stand out as a fade? Anyone kind of stand out as a core play for you? Just break all 10 of these first guys down for me.
Yep, had on mute. Duh. Okay, so starting it off, we got Kevin Harvick on the pole. I mean, this is probably the most interesting play of the slate. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards playing him because he starts on the pole and he's got such a nice price tag at $9,700. Now, what's tough for me is he hasn't really done anything impressive here over the last 4 races. I mean, he hasn't won, is what I mean. So he's going to go out there and dominate. He's got to dominate, I would say, like 50 laps, go and finish in that top 5. For GPPs, I might be staying away personally, which I know Coop might be surprised that I'm doing that. So I'm curious to see what he's going to say about Harvick. And then William Byron's got good equipment, very cheap. I'm pretty sure Coop will probably talk more about him. Kyle Larson, I'm not really on as much. He could be a sneaky dominator here. The price tag from Martin Truex is a big one. It's over 11K. It's kind of steep. I mean, he's another guy. He'd have to go out there and just dominate this race, and I guess eventually win it.
Do you think that price tag will keep his ownership down though?
No, I think him and Harvick are probably going to be two of the top 5 highest owned drivers.
Okay.
I mean, there is good reason for it, but I don't think the price tag is going to scare too many people away. And then let's see, we have Michael McDowell. I don't think he's going to place that high again. I think he's going for 4 top 10s or 3 top 10s in a row. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I'm a big Michael McDowell guy, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then my favorite driver of the NASCAR Cup Series is Denny Hamlin, which is just fun. He starts after McDowell. He could be sneaky here. I haven't seen too many people talk about Denny Hamlin. If you want to get a little bit different, maybe he's the guy you pick to dominate this race. But he just hasn't had great success here. It's more or less an ownership play. I don't think he's going to get too much ownership. Let's see. And then we have Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, and Keselowski. I like Keselowski starting 10th. He's had decent success here in the past. He might be another guy I think that could go out here and win this race, maybe dominate. I don't think he's going to be super high owned. Starting 10th, he's I think 10,000. 300. Yeah, 10,300. So he's a guy I think that could maybe sit back in the beginning, and I'm not saying all the way in the back, but sit, top 10, top 15, and then use some strategy and wind up coming up late and winning this race, maybe getting some laps in the 3rd stage of this race. And then as far as like Chase Elliott and them, I'm really sticking to a tighter core with them. So I might not be touching Bowman, Elliott, or Kurt Busch.
All right, give me your 2 favorites then up here in these first 10 spots.
2 favorites would probably be Keselowski and probably Denny.
Cool. And then McDowell would probably be a fade for you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm just staying away. I mean, the chances of him finishing in the top 5 again, top 10 again, is just so unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, do you think his recent success will bump up, increase his ownership here at all today, or will most people probably be off him?
I don't think so. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for him to be that high owned. His upside just not there. I mean, if he places in top 10 and he happens to be for some crazy weird reason over 30%, that's fine. I'll take my L, but I don't see him being over 10%.
Cool. All right, we'll go to you now, Coop. These first 10 guys, kind of break them down and let me know your thoughts here.
So I'm pretty opposite of Mikey. So McDowell, I have no interest in. The guy has overachieved. Congrats to him and what he's doing. But that luck's going to run out eventually. He can still finish, 10th, 15th, whatever. He needs a 9th place finish to pay off. But I'm more than happy to take my chances that he doesn't get there. Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin, not on either one of them. The track hasn't been good for either. Take away Kurt Busch's win last year, and it's not been very good success there. Hamlin, I like him on 1.5-mile tracks that require more tire wear management, and this isn't one of those. So his results haven't been good. I think in 18 appearances, he has 3 top 5s. And his dominator ratio isn't up there either. So he'll be added to my fade list too. Going back to the top, Kevin Harvick, you got to make a decision on what you need to do with Kevin Harvick. He's either going to boom or he's going to bust. And I feel, you either go in on him or you fade him. I agree with Mikey. He'll probably be one of the 2 highest owned drivers on the slate. And if you look at his stats, they're really good here. He has over 400 and some odd laps led, but half of those laps came in one race, which he completely dominated. If you look at his stats from last year, he won 9 races. Not one of those races he started on the pole. He started on pole 6 races, and 4 of those races, he was not very good. I think he accumulated 4.5 or less dominator points in those races. So for me, I won't be having any Kevin Harvick. I'll take my chances that he doesn't have the strong car and, you know, finishes fifth, sixth, seventh, somewhere in that ballpark, doesn't get the dominator points that, you know, he needs. If you look at, you know, the COVID era stats for pole sitters, last year, 4 pole sitters scored the most dominator points. The year prior to that, the number was 10. So, you know, when we have these non-qualifying, you're based upon, you know, the formula that they use as far as setting the lineups. It doesn't necessarily mean you're the best car starting first. So I'm going to take my chances, you know, and hope that Harvick, you know, has the stats that he had last year when it comes to him sitting on the pole. Because I would expect him to probably be around 40%. The price is too cheap for him, and people are going to gravitate to him. William Byron, I want to fade. I am more concerned about William Byron, honestly, than Kevin Harvick. Byron hasn't been good here, but the price on him is like 83, 8,400. And that, you know, means, you know, he doesn't need as many dominator points. And if he gets that top 5, you know, he could, you know, still be very viable. So I have more, you know, concern fading him than what I do Harvick. Byron was very good last week. Can he do it again this week? Sure. But, you know, I think he's probably going to be 20, 25% owned strictly because of that price. And, you know, I think, you know, the edge there of fading him is very intriguing for me. You know, I have nothing against Byron like I do Harvick as far as, you know, the stats go. But fading Byron is more of a strategy type play. Larson starts third, and he has done very well at this track with Chip Ganassi. So I have some interest in him. I think he's going to end up in the teens as far as ownership, and I think he could get out there, you know, quick and, you know, be a surprising dominator. We'll have to wait and see on that. Martin Truex, you know, the price is just ridiculous on him. He's $1,400 more than Harvick. And, you know, Kevin Harvick's not a $1,400 less driver, in my opinion. They should be closer to each other. So as far as ownership goes, on piece of paper, Truex should be very low owned, in my opinion. But, you know, people don't always look at it. They look at names, you know, they look at, you know, stats, whatever. And he could end up being 15, 20% owned. But what I do know is he hasn't been nearly as dominant on mile-and-a-half tracks as what he was 2 years ago. And I'm willing to fade him also. So, you know, Larson, the only one in the top 4 that I have interest in. Then, you know, the 2 that I am very high on is Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. Both of them have done very well at this track from a driving standpoint. The results have not been good. Both of them should have wins here, but due to cautions and other issues, they haven't done well finishing. You know, Bowman is the one I really, really like. He has done very good on these mile-and-a-half tracks that require speed. They're running the tires that they ran last year in Las Vegas, Kansas, and Texas at the end of the year. And he was very strong in all 3 of those races. He collected dominator points in all 3 of those races. And I expect him to get right up front and battle it out. You know, Chase Elliott's the same way. I think people are a little bit worried that he didn't show as much speed last week, but I'm not too worried about that because he's still learning on these high tire wear tracks. His results are getting better. And I think once we get out to the pure speed tracks, Chase Elliott is going to be very good. And then Keselowski, I'm still up in the air on him as what I want to do. I've obviously bitten off a lot and planted a lot of flags already. I don't know if I can plant a flag on Keselowski, but I do have intentions that I might want to. The reason with Keselowski is he's very good at this racetrack, but his price tag also is too much in my opinion. You know, he needs dominator points to be able to pay off. And if you look at his race history here, he's only led 90 laps over the last 6 races. He relies more on strategy and pitting, and that's put him up there. So, he could end up finishing third, fourth, but if he doesn't get them dominator points, he's going to flutter also. And I think, he's going to be more popular than a Chase Elliott. And I like going with Elliott over Keselowski. So, something I got to think about in the next couple hours. I just don't know if I have, enough in me to add Keselowski to the flag list.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one thing I see kind of going through this field, and, I'm going to stick with you, Coop. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You're going to, with some of these more expensive drivers, you're going to have to take some stands because I think this week more so than others, you're not going to have the ability to play as many of them due to the value options on the slate. I'm not seeing a ton of really cheap drivers that we can play, unlike the Daytona races that you talked about, where it's just way more high variance and whatnot. You're looking for the positional difference, place differential and whatnot. In this race, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. So I think it might be hard to get up to this top tier drivers. Is that something you agree with or disagree with?
No, I agree with it. I mean, I think we have, pricing is very tough on some place differential drivers that you're going to want to get into your lineups. You definitely want 2 dominators this week, because that's been the trend here in Vegas, is to have 2 dominators. So, like I said, there's been one race of the last 7 where, one driver purely dominated. And then there's one race where it was more split out between 3 or 4 drivers. But you want at least 2 dominators. And the dominators are expensive. And I think that's going to draw a lot of ownership to William Byron because, you can play him as a dominator. And his price allows that to happen.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Before we move on, guys, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us to continue bringing you guys these shows for free. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. It helps us out a lot. All right, let's hit up this next range. We'll go drivers starting 11th through 20th. Those guys are Reddick, Austin Dillon, Ryan Newman, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Chris Bell, Stenhouse Jr., Buescher, Preece, and Cole Custer. We'll go to you, Mikey. Give me your breakdown of these drivers starting, 11th through 20th.
All righty. So this range I'm not too fond of. I really don't start liking drivers until we get to Christopher Bell, starting at 16th. So I don't expect to have any of Reddick, Austin Dillon, Newman, Kyle Busch, or Joey Logano. I like Chris Bell here. I think that he's got decent upside for the price of $7,700. Starts 16th. I think he can easily get to the top 10 for him. He's probably my 4th favorite driver. I like Ricky here. I'm not a big Ricky user. I don't really play Ricky a lot. Everybody knows that. But this is one of the tracks where every year I do tend to play some Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's just good here, and I really think that this could be a race for him where he could find the top 10 as long as he can, not cause any fucking wrecks like he usually does. Chris Buescher is probably my favorite driver here in this range. Chris Buescher has finished in the top 18, I believe, in the last 6 races here, and Chris Buescher is priced at, I have all these tabs open so far.
64. Yeah.
I gotta make a sheet next time because all these tabs are killing me. So I got Chris Buescher at 6,400. Starts 18th. He's finished better than 18th every race in the last 6 tries here. So that just screams upside to me. I think he's going to continue that trend and hopefully maybe even pop into the top 10. So I really like Chris Buescher in this range. He's probably my favorite driver. And then Cole Custer, who is Coop's boy every week. I feel like he likes Cole Custer, and this week is cheap, and I can get behind Coop if he likes Cole Custer this week. I'm willing to ride some Cole Custer starting 20th. I think he'll be a little bit higher owned than Chris Buescher just because of the extra 2 spots, and that's fine. I'm going to take more Buescher over Custer, but I think both guys are in for good days on the track.
All right, give me your first and second favorites here in this range.
Yeah, it's going to be Buescher, Custer. It's going to be Buescher, Custer, than Stenhouse for me.
Okay. Very good. All right, Coop, I'll throw it over to you. Mikey really didn't like any of these drivers 11 through 15. So talk about any of those guys if you have any interest. And then, this next tier, this 16 through 20 as well, Buescher, Custer, glancing at the playbook, you kind of have those guys on there as strong plays. And then the playbook is part of the premium package over at Rumpier Sports. So that's just a little bit of a preview to that article and piece of content. Just a phenomenal driver-by-driver breakdown, kind of breaks it into tiers, the top tier, middle tier, value, and fades. And, we'll give you a little bonus that Custer and Buescher are at the top of the value list. So I'm assuming you agree with Mikey when it comes to those two guys.
I'm just kind of starting to wonder who Mikey does like this week. He doesn't like very many drivers at all.
Small player pool.
Maybe he likes the drivers who are starting 30th to 38th. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a tight core. When it comes to NASCAR, I go for first or last. I just play such a super tight core. I mean, obviously Joey Logano is going to be a good play this week. He's got good history.
But you just said you're gonna fade him.
Oh no, I am. I'm just saying he's got good history here. He could have a great day, but I'm willing to get burned by some of these drivers. That you're talking about guys that are in great spots. Chase Elliott's obviously in a great spot, but I play such a tight core. I'm usually a 3 lineup type guy if I'm not playing 20 builds. So I keep it.
Mikey's leaving 20K on the table today.
I don't think you've given us 3 drivers that you like to fill out one lineup so far.
I'm waiting. I got my 2, Custer and Buescher.
Anyways, so Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick starting where they're at are probably the 2 highest risk, highest reward GPP plays on the slate. They're both going to be very low owned, strictly because of their price, and strictly because of where their starting position is. I like Dillon more than Reddick because Dillon has proven that he can get to where he needs to be to make value in this race previously. He's going to have a fast car. Childress always has fast cars at this track. So I like Dillon over Reddick. But, Reddick, is his teammate, and he's going to have a fast car also. But I think both of them, I'm not going to have a lot. You're not going to need a lot because they're not going to be highly owned. But I think, if they do end up getting in that top 10, they're going to be, paid off for you. I wouldn't play them together because I don't see both of them getting to where they need to be. And keep in mind, they also carry a lot of downside also because, if they finish 14th, 15th, they're gonzo and dead for you. Ryan Newman, kind of in the same situation as those two. Newman will probably be a little bit more owned due to his price, and he starts a little farther back than them. But I think I like the Childress speed better than what Newman's going to give you. Newman will probably finish somewhere between 13th and 18th, somewhere in that ballpark. He hasn't been bad out here, but he hasn't been great either. Let's see here. Who starts 14th? I know
Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch. Mikey didn't even talk about freaking Kyle Busch, I don't think. But Kyle Busch, I have no interest in playing him whatsoever. I don't know why he's the most expensive driver this week. He shouldn't be the most expensive driver this week. He should probably be more in the 10K, slightly above range. He does offer some place differential points for you, but he needs to win this race and he needs to get you some dominator points. Over his last 6 Vegas races, he's led 30 laps. He hates this package. He hasn't showed speed in this package last year. So I'm going to let people.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but as a NASCAR, somewhat of a novice. I mean, I've played for a few seasons, but I don't fully understand the ins and outs of NASCAR. Since the restart last year, I mean, he has to be probably like the most disappointing name out there, right? I mean, he's been pretty terrible for a year straight.
He's the Jordan Spieth of NASCAR.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I mean, he always has these expensive price tags, and just he never gets it done.
Right. He hasn't been getting it done. So I mean, he'll finish in 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever, but is not going to get it done for you.
Right.
So Either Kyle Busch or Martin Truex, one of those two is going to end up in single digit ownership. So, he's a great GPP play, just not for me this week. Starting 15th is Joey Logano. And when I thought of pricing was going to come out, I had every intention of him being the most expensive driver on this slate. And, in my mind, he is way underpriced for what he provides at this track. He gives you the place differential options. And then, he has dominator potential also. He's won this race the last 2 years. He's had several top fives here, several top tens. And when I think of Logano, I think of speed. And that's what you need here. So there's no way I would absolutely think about fading Logano in this situation. If he was 11-4, which is what he should be, then maybe. But at a price tag of 10,000, he has enormous upside, and he should be probably the second highest owned driver on this slate behind Harvick, in my opinion. But if people stay away from him, I'm just going to end up being 4, 5, 6 times over the field on him. So Cole Custer, I do like Cole Custer. Disappointed me last week. I don't look at my teams, until the end of the race. And I know I had a very good team with 2 laps left when he blew that tire, because he was 8% owned last week. And he's not going to be 8% owned this week. He's going to be very popular. And, I'm just going to eat it and go with it. His results haven't been great here, but, they haven't had that many results here. And, I will take my chances that he exceeds those results this week in a very good car. Buescher, solid play. Can't ignore him. I think he's going to be the highest owned of the cheap drivers down there. He's finished between 9th and 18th in every race here over the last 6. So that alone right there tells you he's solid. I don't think he brings the upside that Cole Custer does. And I definitely don't think he brings the upside of my boy Ricky Stenhouse. Stenhouse has that ability to get a 6th, 7th, 8th, 3rd place finish here. I think Buescher, is tapped out around 9th. Stenhouse, people hate to play the guy, and I'm going to, just drive a nail in the coffin and have a bunch of Ricky Stenhouse this week. He does really good in spring races, and he has a lot of speed. And, this is a low attrition track, very few wrecks. And, you can say what you want about Ricky Stenhouse, but he's going to be very aggressive. And he's going to be very aggressive on the restarts, too. And that's where you're going to get most of your track position at Vegas, because once the field spreads out, it's much more difficult to, gain those positions by passing. So I love some Ricky Stenhouse this week, and I think he's a great pivot off of Buescher and Cole Custer. And then I think there's a driver in there I'm missing somewhere. But let's see.
Priest.
Oh, Christopher Bell. I do like Christopher Bell too. Like Mikey said, that was one of the few drivers that he does like. He has top 10 upside, and I think this car's done very well here in the past. He hasn't done very well, and people are going to gravitate to him more than a Austin Dillon or a Tyler Reddick, and that's why I like Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick as the GPP plays, because they're priced right around Bell, and Bell starts 4 to 5 positions behind them. So I will have some Christopher Bell too.
Very good. Yeah, it's a really, really good breakdown. So, it seems like you guys both are on Custer, Stenhouse as value, and that's a good point about Stenhouse. The guy his nickname's Wrecky, right? For the fact that he always gets in wrecks. You said, not a lot of crashes at this event. So, that's something that's obviously going to work in his favor. And, his odds to win 66-1. Him and Custer are both 66-1. Buescher 125-1. So a little bit of a difference between the win odds of those guys. Chris Bell 33-1 to win. He's by far has the best odds of the guys in that tier, that 16 through 20 range in terms of starting position, but he's the most expensive. very good breakdown there, boys. Let's hop into this next range, 21 through, we'll go 21 through 30. I mean, there's some, known names, some bigger names down here, and some guys that, to be quite frank, I really don't know much about. It starts with Chastain, Suarez, Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, Justin Haley, maybe, I don't know. You guys can correct me on that one. Ryan Blaney, he's a name obviously down here, starting 26, 11-1 to win this race, 10.8K. Anthony Alfredo, Eric Almirola, Eric Jones, and MDB. So we have some names and we have some kind of unknown guys, not necessarily unknown, but some, not as, don't have the track record here. So let's go to you first, Mikey. Break down these guys 21 through 30.
Alrighty, now we're gonna get to some of the guys that I like. So
there we go.
I won't be.
I better get the notebook out. I'm ready.
Well, don't get it too soon because I'm not touching Chastain, Suarez, or Wallace. Now, Chase Briscoe, I'll be on this week. I think it's a driver that could have a potential top 15 upside. Price tag is nice. I think he's 7,400. Like his upside here. I was on him. I got on him late last week. Kind of burned me. Kind of hoping some other people jumped on him and burned him. Not RPS members, that is, but players in the field burned him. Now his ownership will stay a little lower. I think the 24th starting spot for him is nice. I don't touch Justin Haley unless we're on a super speedway and he's starting all the way in the back. Ryan Blaney, who's going to be the chalkiest driver of the slate, starts 26th. He's got an average finish of 9.7 here. So he's obviously going to get a lot of ownership for good reason. I'll definitely have my Blaney exposure like a fish because obviously I'm going to talk about a chalk driver. Anthony Alfredo, I've been playing this guy every single week to start this year, and he has yet to get me there. And yes, I'm going back to the wave this week. I will be playing Anthony Alfredo. Eventually, he's gonna finish the race. He's gonna get there. He's gonna have a good week, and I'm gonna be aboard when he does. Eric Almirola looked really good last week. He was doing pretty well for me, riding that top 15. Had his times in the top 10. Wound up having an issue, falling out. I'll be on Eric Almirola again this week. Eric Jones is interesting to me. I think he sucks. I don't think his car is good anymore. Like last year he was good, or not last year, his equipment was better. His equipment's just bad. Like I'm not a big Eric Jones person in general. I think the 29th him starting 29th will get people to play him. I will not be touching Eric Jones this week, not even the slightest. And then Matty DiBenedetto. This I like this kid. He finished second twice last year here. Starts 30th, average finish of 18.6, and he's only been getting better here. With in 2019 he finished 21st, I think, both times, and now he's second last year. I'll be having my Matty D exposure. I'm hoping that price tag maybe scares some people away. I think he's in 9K now, which is just something you haven't really seen for him over the years. Starting 30 for him, he's got to be my favorite driver in this range.
Very good. Go to you, Coop. Talk about Blaney, his expected high ownership. Starting 26, 11-1 to win this race, 10.8K. I mean, he's going to be obviously one of the higher owned guys just because that place differential and honestly the upside to probably win this race. And then talk about the other guys here in this range as well, starting 21 through 30.
All right, so we'll talk about the three elephants in this range first. And my favorite driver in this range is Almirola. The price tag on him, is very juicy for the upside that he brings. When I think of Eric Almirola, I think of speed. This track's all about speed. And, he has 3 top 10s in his last 6 here. And the price, he should be the most popular of these 3, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be the most popular. That's why I want to be, very well overweight on him. And, I think he has to get to 14th to pay off. And he could easily get, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th in there. So I really like Almirola the most. Blaney is the one that everybody will go to. I do have a little bit of reservation, about Blaney as far as his ownership goes, and it could be lower than what we think it might be because, he's been in this situation several times and he's had issues. But I don't think this is a week to, play games with Ryan Blaney. He's finished fifth 3 times here. He's finished in the top 10, 5 out of his last 6 races. This race suits him better than what the road course did prior and what the high tire wear did last week. And then Daytona's just a, random race. Anything can happen. So of the 4 tracks, I think this is the best fitting one for Ryan Blaney. And I hope the prior results do keep his ownership down. But, I like Amarola better because of the price tag than Blaney. Because you can do more with Amarola. And I think Amarola has just as much upside as what Blaney does. So both of them I like a lot. Matty D is another one I like quite a bit. One note on Matty D is, he did kind of backdoor those great finishes here last year due to some caution flags. But, that's not going to scare me away because, again, he's in a Wood Brothers car. And when I think of Wood Brothers car, I think of speed. This track is all about speed. And prior to Matty D being in this car, Paul Menard was in this car. And Paul Menard had very good finishes out in Vegas too. So I know the Wood Brothers are going to bring a very good car and a very fast car to the track this week. So those 3 drivers, I want to be as overweight on them as much as I possibly could. Do all 3 of them pay off? Possibly, because of the low attrition that we have here. But, more than likely, 1 or 2 of them, give you the ultimate payoff of what you're looking for. Justin Haley, I have no interest in him. I agree with Mikey. I want to play him on super speedways. Bubba Wallace, I have some interest in. I think he's going to come in lower owned. I don't want to go crazy on Bubba Wallace, but there's so many unknown things about this race team so far. What I do know is they should be pretty fast. And you look at his results before, and he hasn't done very good here. And I think people will look at that and stick away from him. And transitioning into Eric Jones, that's one reason I want to stay away from Eric Jones is because Bubba Wallace was in his car before, not giving them very good results. I have some serious question marks about, if they have enough speed. Petty's been around for a long time, but there's been always a lot of speculation about how much money he's getting in from, his sponsorships. And right now it doesn't look like he's getting a lot and they're not spending a lot on that car. I might be like Mikey and let people chase that nice starting position because I don't think he can get into the top 20 based upon, that car's prior results to this track and what it's been doing here early this year. My favorite GPP play in this range is Ross Chastain. I think he's going to be low owned and I want to be overweight on him. Ross Chastain, you're going to look at his stats here in Cup, and they're not very good. You look at the cars he drove here in Cup, they're not very good. If you look at his stats in Xfinity here, they're very good. The cars that he drove in Xfinity here, they're very good. The car that he's going to drive this week is going to be very good because who drove it before him? Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson had very good results here, and I think he's a very good sneaky GPP play. I think he can get into the top 10 if everything works out right. And it wouldn't surprise me if he finishes somewhere in the 11th to 14th range. And then last week, there was a lot of love for Chase Briscoe. And fortunately, I stayed away from him for the most part. And I just didn't see it. This week, I really like Chase Briscoe. He should be high owned. He has a lot of potential. I think he can get up into the top 10. If you look at his Xfinity results, he did very good here, and he was very dominant. He's going to have a fast car, you can't avoid Chase Briscoe because, again, I could see him top 10ing too.
Very good breakdown there, boys. I mean, in this range, unfortunately for entertainment purposes, I'm assuming things kind of start to fall off here in terms of the conversation. This last range here is 31 through 38, and it's guys that are cheap, but not very likely to be in the winning lineups today in these contests around the industry. Smithley, Ware, LaJoy, McLeod, Balicki, Huff, Gacy, and Timmy Hill. So I'm going to go to you first, Mikey. Any case to be made for these guys here starting 31 through 38?
I mean, this is the best range on the slate. No.
These are your boys down here?
No, the only guy I would actually consider is Corey LaJoy starting 33rd. If his price was under 6K, I'd have a lot more interest, but 6,300, I'm not super interested. 33rd, I mean, I think he's got maybe top 25 upside, but I'm probably going to stay away from this range. But like I said, LaJoy is the only guy I'd even think to consider.
Yeah, I mean, Coop, we kind of talked about it earlier in one of the other ranges where you really got to make your stands at the top because we just don't have these really cheap guys that we've had in the previous week. So, can you make any case for these guys down here starting 31st or worse?
Just Corey LaJoy. I have more interest in him than Mikey because I play LaJoy on tracks that are a mile and a half because he brings speed, and that's what we need here today. Now, I agree with Mikey. He probably does have top 25 potential. For him to get where he needs to at 21st to pay off, everything's going to have to fall in line for him. Can that happen? Most definitely. Corey LaJoy could easily top 20 here. I would probably say it would probably happen maybe 2 to 3 times out of every 10 times we raced this race. The price is just too much for him. But again, if he was 5,600, 5,700, he would be the ultimate chalk of what we need. So the price makes you think about it, and the price is going to keep him lower on because everybody's going to go to Custer, they're going to go to Busher, he could get in there for you. So the other drivers I have no interest in because they got to finish 25th, 26th, and if you look at these drivers over the last 6 races, the ones that are historically in these type of cars, the best finish they've ever had is 28.
Okay. One other topic that I wanted to touch on before we get to the winners is in that first through 10th starting position. I mean, what's the number? What's the most you'd play starting in that range? Maybe 2 guys, or is it just 1 guy?
Coop, go.
1st through 5th. I'm not going to pair any of them together. A driver starting 1st, I have no problems pairing them. If a driver starting 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, I have no problems pairing a driver starting 7th and 8th or 8th and 9th together also. But the 1st through 5th, I only want 1 of them. If you look at, hold on 1 second, I have it here. Yeah, if you look at the past 7 races, only 2 times have 2 drivers starting in the top 5 been successful with each other. And in one of those races, I'm not sure from a DFS perspective, that driver led enough laps to be, to pay off over some of the point differential drivers that we have from placement. So for me, it's just 1 driver in the top 5 on a lineup.
Okay. Mikey, go ahead, continue.
No, I was going to say, while you're talking about roster construction, the other thing is, there's a lot of drivers that we like, starting, 16th through, let's say, 21st. I don't know if I would necessarily pair those drivers together either, like a Busher and a Stenhouse. Mm-hmm. But if both of them getting a top 10 is very limited. The likelihood of one of them getting top 10 is much better. So really look at, like your roster and say, all right, can I see both of these guys or these people getting to where I need to be before you hit that enter button?
Yeah. Mikey, any differing opinion there on that one?
No, I agree with the top 10. I would only play one of the guys starting 1 through 5. And then after that, I wouldn't mind throwing in 2 or 3 from the 1 through like 14. And then I don't actually hate throwing in the guys. Goop just said 16 to 21. Even throw Briscoe in there. I wouldn't hate throwing 2 of those guys in the same build. I think it's some of the price tags they have. I think they could get there.
I don't mind Briscoe with one of them, but I would never play Ricky Stenhouse and Chris Buescher together.
I would play. I might do that. Stenhouse and even Custer and Buescher you could go with or something.
Cool. All right. Yeah, it's interesting breakdown for sure. All right, now we'll move on to the winners. We'll go ahead and pick some winners here. See how we do. We'll go to you first, Mikey. Who do you think ends up getting that checkered flag here today?
I think the winner this week is going to be Brad Keselowski coming from the 10 hole 8-1. I think we see him with the win tonight.
Like it. All right, Coop. Who do you expect to get the win here today?
If you want some giblets, play the guy right here behind me. He's going to be dominant today.
Is that Alex Bowman?
That is Alex Bowman.
All right. I just had to make sure. All
right, so we got kids. Car, man.
You can't see it on the YouTube.
Oh.
So the whole time you can only see a fist above your head.
it looks like Bowman's punching you, donkey punch in the back of the head. Cool. All right, Mikey. Any final thoughts here?
Well, since everyone's giving me a tough time about my tight core, I'll be posting my player pool today in the Discord a little bit closer to lock once I finalize it. Other than that, I mean, Coop's been talking up Alex Bowman a lot. Last week, I told myself I'm just going to go all in on Bowman, and then I kind of like moved off that. But I'll definitely have some good Bowman exposure now, thanks to Coop getting me back on. Other than that, though, should be a fun race. I'm excited. I know I'll be on with Keg later for his live show. I'm sure Coop will be there as well. They'll come hang out with us for the race.
Awesome. Coop, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say what Mikey said, man. If you like money, make sure you hang out with Keg and I, and then Mikey also. It all depends upon Mikey's dinner schedule. He eats dinner twice on Sundays, once at 3:30 and another time at 7:30. As if he can make it, So, but the last 3 weeks have been very popular, profitable.
Yes.
On that show. 65 units up. We've nailed Chris Bell, and we nailed William Byron last week, and we also had some other bets along the side, but they've been the 2 biggest ones by far.
Awesome. Yeah, so check out those guys on the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel. You got what time? 3:30, 4-ish?
Yeah, Kegger usually starts at about, half an hour, 40 minutes before the start of the race. So probably about 3:15, somewhere in that ballpark.
Cool. Awesome. So head on over there, check the boys out. A lot of free winners. I know Keg does a really good job. MMA, NASCAR, a lot of other sports, but it seems like the NASCAR stuff has been on point. I know you guys nailed some winners, so we've got a lot of good live betting opportunities during NASCAR events. So head on over there, check those guys out. And also head on over to runpuresports.com. We have that promo going, free ticket. If you're not a member, you sign up for a monthly package, gets you in the drawing for the $600 DK NBA contest on Thursday, March 11th. That promo code is free ticket, and you have to pick a monthly package to be eligible. But with that, we're going to get on out of here. So for Coop, for Mikey, Hoop, good luck today to everyone in your contest.